They say plants never lie, and that's truer than most people realize. Because at your front door, the very mouth of chi, where energy begins its journey into your home, every branch, every leaf, every creeping root is sending a message. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Not all greenery speaks the language of harmony. Some of it whispers conflict. Some of it calls in misfortune. And some of it, while looking lush and alive, slowly chokes the very flow you've been trying to protect. You see, we've grown up believing that more plants automatically means more peace, that anything green equals healing. But Feng Shui doesn't work on appearances alone. It responds to essence, intention, and alignment. And in this quiet art, not all plants are allies. Some open the path to abundance, yes, but others quietly block it, anchor emotional stagnation, or distort the energetic dialogue between your life and the universe. And the most surprising part? Most of these disruptive plants are already sitting right at people's front doors. Pause for a moment and picture your own entrance. Not the interior hallway, the outside. What lives there? A cactus standing proud? A weeping vine cascading down the gate? A dried out pot you meant to replace last season? These aren't just landscaping choices, they are energetic choices. And they matter more than most people will ever know. Because here's the core truth. The front of your home doesn't just greet guests, it greets opportunity. It welcomes health, it protects love. And the energy that passes through it every single day either flows cleanly or gets caught, redirected, tangled, even repelled. The wrong plant placed in the wrong position can lead to more than bad curb appeal. It can lead to slowed income, increased emotional friction, fatigue in the relationships inside, and even a subtle sense that something always feels off. But when you remove or shift the wrong plant and replace it with one that harmonizes, the shift is quiet, but it's profound. The air feels clearer, arguments settle more easily, things move forward with less effort, and your home begins to feel like it's not just shelter, but support. And that's why this conversation matters. Because we're not here today to judge your garden or redesign your entire landscape. We're here to help you listen more deeply to what your home is already saying. You don't need to be a Feng Shui master to sense it. You just need to be a little more intentional. Because once you begin to see your front door, not as a decoration, but as an energetic threshold, everything changes. And small changes made their ripple throughout the rest of your life. In this video, we're going to explore 7 specific plants that many people place near their entrances without knowing their true energetic consequences. Some of these might be on your porch right now. Others you've probably seen in luxury homes, Pinterest boards, or celebrity gardens. But Feng Shui doesn't care about trends. It cares about flow. And what matters here is not popularity, but harmony. Each of these plants comes with its own symbolic weight. Some disturb the flow of fortune, others attract conflict. A few carry emotional signatures like grief, stuckness, or even decay. But don't worry, this isn't a list to scare you. It's a chance to make small, empowered changes. We'll break down what each plant does, why it creates energetic disruption, and how to shift things simply, clearly, without needing to hire a designer or change your whole life. And remember, this isn't about superstition, it's about environment. Feng Shui works on the principle that your space mirrors your life. So when your front entrance carries cluttered, chaotic, or misaligned messages, your finances, your emotional clarity, and even your physical health feel the ripple effect. But when your threshold is clear, your focus sharpens, your rest deepens, your relationships soften. That's what we're here for. That's what we're building. So here's what I ask. Give yourself the next few minutes to tune in, not just with your ears, but with your attention, your intention. Because I promise you, something you hear today will shift how you see your front space. And that insight alone might be the difference between a home that feels heavy and one that begins to lift. Before we dive into each of these plants, I want to ask for something simple in return. If this video gives you clarity, if it helps you feel seen or supported in any way, I'd be deeply grateful if you would give it a like, share it with someone you care about, or hit subscribe to help us reach 5,000 mindful homes. This isn't about chasing numbers. This is about building a community where awareness becomes normal, where care becomes contagious, and where every home begins to feel like the ally it was always meant to be. This is New Day Mindfulness, and here we believe your home isn't just a structure, it's a mirror. And when you care for it with attention and wisdom, it begins to care for you in ways you never expected. Now let's look at the first plant and what it might be silently doing to the luck that tries to reach your door. Plant number 1, cactus, the hidden aggressor. Beauty doesn't always mean harmony, and silence doesn't always equal peace. Sometimes what appears bold, modern, and even stylish from the outside carries tension at its core. You see, in Feng Shui, energy doesn't only respond to what is alive, it responds to what is sharp, angular, and defensive. And there's one plant in particular that often gets misjudged, misunderstood, and misplaced. The cactus. It's minimalist, it's drought-resistant, it thrives in neglect. But it also brings with it an energy most people don't realize they've invited in, until the consequences begin to unfold quietly, subtly, sometimes painfully. Let's walk gently but clearly into this space together. Let's talk about what really happens when a cactus is placed at the entrance of your home. Now, I know this may come as a surprise to many of you. After all, cactus plants are wildly popular. Not just in modern homes, but in office buildings, apartments, and minimalist design layouts across the country. Their aesthetic appeal is undeniable. They suggest simplicity. They ask for very little care. They offer a sort of sculptural contrast to softer plants, and to the untrained eye, they look harmless. But in the language of energy, and that's what Feng Shui truly is, a cactus is never silent. It whispers through its spikes, and what it says energetically is stay away. Let's make this personal, because it is. Your front door is not just a physical entry. In Feng Shui, we call it the mouth of qi, the portal through which opportunities, prosperity, and vital support flow into your life. Everything placed near it becomes part of that first energetic handshake. It's like introducing yourself to the universe every time you walk past your threshold. So ask yourself, what message is a cactus sending as it sits there, arms folded in thorns, daring anyone to come too close? Here's the truth that most people don't realize. The cactus radiates what we call sha qi, translated as attacking energy or cutting force. This type of energy is jagged, confrontational, and agitating. It doesn't soothe, it doesn't soften, it doesn't open a path, it throws up small, invisible barricades. So when you place a cactus near your main door, what you're really doing is setting a tone of caution, of confrontation, of defense. And you might not feel it right away, but your home absorbs that vibration and it responds in kind. Let me tell you a story that illustrates this with unsettling clarity. A couple I worked with in Arizona had been experiencing a subtle but persistent breakdown in family harmony. They couldn't pinpoint when things started to feel tense, but they noticed more frequent arguments, especially between their 2 teenage sons. At first, they thought it was just growing pains, normal household friction. But then the father lost a freelance contract that had been steady for years. The mother started experiencing tightness in her chest, especially when coming home after work. And though nothing dramatic happened at first, a general heaviness began to settle over the house. When I visited their home, the first thing I saw outside was a large, stunning cluster of golden barrel cacti positioned perfectly symmetrical on both sides of the front path, like guardians. But they weren't protecting, they were projecting. The energy hit immediately, defensive, sharp, confrontational. I recommended they move the cacti to the far edge of their yard and replace the space near their entryway with gentle ferns and rounded leaf palms. Within weeks, the mother reported that her chest tightness had vanished. The boys were still teenagers, but the arguments lessened. The father began receiving new project inquiries. They hadn't changed jobs, or houses, or routines. Just a shift in energy, and it started with that one plant. You might be wondering, is it really that serious? Can a plant with spikes do all that? And my answer is simple. Not all at once, but over time, yes, because your home responds not just to what's there, but to what's repeated, what's sustained, what's unspoken. A cactus near your entrance doesn't just sit, it declares. And over time, its vibration settles into the fabric of your household, into how people communicate, how they sleep, how they attract or repel support. And the research backs this up. In traditional Chinese medicine and energy theory, sharp angles and piercing lines are known to disturb the body's Wei Qi, the protective layer of energy that surrounds and shields your physical and emotional body. So the metaphor isn't just symbolic, it's physiological. That feeling of walking into your home and feeling on edge isn't always from stress. It's sometimes what your space is mirroring back to you. Now let's address another layer of misunderstanding. Some people think, but isn't the cactus a symbol of resilience? Doesn't it survive harsh climates and remind us of strength? Yes, but context matters. Just like you wouldn't bring a sword into a baby's nursery, you don't place a protective plant in a welcoming zone. The cactus is a fantastic choice for certain settings, like in a private office, a security zone, or a meditation corner where personal boundaries need reinforcement. But at the front entrance, where energy is supposed to soften, curve, and embrace, it simply sends the wrong signal. So what's the fix? The good news is it's simple and doesn't involve throwing your plant away. Relocation is key. Move your cactus to a space where you need energetic boundaries. A workspace, a home gym, even near a window where it can absorb sunlight, but stay energetically neutral to the rest of the house. Better yet, pair it with grounding stones like black tourmaline or hematite to stabilize its sharpness. But most importantly, remove it from your entry path. Let your front door breathe. Let it invite. Let it flow. Because here's the deeper truth that Feng Shui always returns to. Everything in your space either opens the path or narrows it. And when you realize that your wealth, your relationships, your health, all depend on whether energy can circulate without fear, without friction, you begin to see your plants, your furniture, your layout differently. Not as decorations, but as collaborators. And if you've watched this far, let me ask you something directly, gently but honestly. Is there a part of your life that feels stuck, tense, or constantly in a state of quiet conflict? If so, look around your entryway. What greets you? Is it soft, rounded, and open? Or sharp, stiff, and guarded? You don't need to believe in magic to believe in patterns. And in Feng Shui, patterns are everything. Let's close this segment with a simple reflection. Every time you walk into your home, you're crossing a threshold. Not just between outside and inside, but between the chaos of the world and the sanctuary of your soul. The plants that live at that threshold are not passive. They are energetic participants in your daily life. So ask them to participate wisely. Choose them with intention. Place them with clarity. And in doing so, you're not just arranging your porch, you're arranging your future. If this gave you even a moment of pause, insight, or recognition, if you just realized that a plant you walk by every day might be influencing more than you thought, then I gently invite you to support this work. A like, a comment, a subscription. They may seem small, but they help this channel, New Day Mindfulness, reach more homes, more hearts, more spaces in need of realignment. Let's bring harmony to where it matters most, right at your doorstep. Plant number 2, dead or dying plants. Symbol of stagnation. You walk past it every morning, maybe without thinking. A brown-tipped leaf, a stem that used to stand tall, now drooping with silent fatigue. A once vibrant flower, now brittle and forgotten. It sits there near your front entrance or windowsill, and no one has the heart to throw it away. But Feng Shui sees it differently. What you allow to decay without addressing becomes a symbol of what you're willing to tolerate in your life. And over time, that quiet tolerance of just one dying plant becomes an energy pattern, a message to the universe that says, I'm okay with less than full vitality. It's never just a plant. In Feng Shui, especially near the entrance of a home, every object is a voice, and a dying plant doesn't whisper peace or growth. It echoes stagnation, abandonment, in slow decay, sometimes financial, sometimes emotional, but always energetic. Let's start with something simple but often ignored. Your threshold is a message board for the energy you want to call in. If a new guest came to your door and saw a plant turning yellow or brittle, they'd assume the home behind it lacked attention. In the same way, energetic forces, what we call qi, register neglect as a signal. Stagnant plants attract stagnant qi. You may not see it with your eyes, but you'll feel it in subtle ways. Your mornings feel slower, your ideas feel clouded, money flows in but doesn't stay, or conversations in the house turn tense for no clear reason. These are not random. A dying plant becomes a totem of what you've stopped tending, not just in the soil, but in your spirit. Now let's talk emotional honesty. One of the reasons people leave dying plants untouched is because they once meant something. Maybe it was a gift from a loved one. Maybe it grew beautifully last spring. But here's the hard truth. Memories don't justify keeping energetic blocks alive. That pot filled with withering soil is not honoring the past. It's anchoring you in it. In Feng Shui, everything must either support your now or your next. If it does neither, it is an anchor. And anchors are only useful if you want to stay exactly where you are. Here's something even deeper. Many homeowners for Mapars think one dying plant won't matter if they have 5 other healthy ones nearby. It's like saying, my kitchen is clean, except for that one moldy drawer. But energy doesn't work on averages. It responds to the weakest link. One plant decaying slowly by your doorway is enough to whisper, this house has given up in one small corner. And energy listens. Not because it's judging you, but because it's always responding to you. That's the beauty and the burden of Feng Shui. Your space doesn't lie to the universe. It simply reflects your truth back to it. So what does the dying plant really represent? First, it reflects blocked growth. When a plant no longer thrives, it signals an area of your life where growth has slowed or where you've accepted decline as a background reality. For some, this manifests as career plateau. For others, it's about emotional numbness or a lack of forward movement in personal relationships. Often, after removing a dead plant from the entrance, people report sudden moments of clarity. A phone call they were waiting for finally comes, a minor health issue resolves, or the home suddenly feels lighter. That's not magic, that's alignment. 就是说, now let's connect this to your subconscious mind. Even if you tell yourself it's just a plant, your deeper awareness knows otherwise. Every time you pass it, your nervous system registers decay. You absorb the unspoken language of that visual, a drooping stem, dull leaves, dryness. And your internal state mirrors it, lower motivation, more tolerance for disorder, less urgency for change. Your brain adapts to what you normalize. And when you normalize dead energy in one area, it quietly makes it easier to ignore it in other parts of your life too. Here's the turning point. Removing a dead plant isn't about guilt, it's about release. Just like pruning a tree allows new shoots to form, letting go of what no longer thrives in your space gives permission for life to re-enter. In Feng Shui, we don't shame what no longer serves. We simply thank it and let it go. Because holding on to what's decaying doesn't just weigh down the space, it begins to weigh down the spirit of the people who live there. You might be wondering, what should replace it? The answer depends on your intention. If you want to renew career energy, consider placing a lush snake plant or lucky bamboo in its place. Both are strong symbols of upward energy and longevity. If you're seeking emotional healing or harmony in relationships, a flowering plant like peace lily or chrysanthemum offers soft, welcoming chi. If you need protection or grounding, consider a money tree, but ensure it's vibrant, well-watered, and free of yellow leaves. The new plant isn't just decoration, it's a declaration. It tells the world, I'm no longer tolerating energetic stagnation. Let me tell you a quick story here. A client of mine in California had a small succulent that had died over the winter. She didn't throw it out, she kept it by the mailbox, saying she didn't notice it much anyway. Over the course of 4 months, she experienced repeated miscommunications with neighbors, late bill payments, and even minor car trouble, all seemingly disconnected. But when I visited and pointed out the dried, grayish pot, she gasped. I don't even see it anymore, she said. We removed it, replaced it with a vibrant fern, and within a week, her neighbor dropped in to apologize for a previous dispute. Her mail delivery improved, and she said the whole entryway felt like it had air again. Coincidence? Maybe. But like I said before, in Feng Shui, energy is never neutral. It's either supporting or obstructing you. So let's anchor this in action. Go to your entrance right now. Look at every plant, not just the ones in the spotlight, but the ones hiding in corners, behind furniture, or next to the mailbox. Are any of them holding decay? Have the leaves dulled, the soil dried, or the shape turned inward? If yes, don't wait. Remove them today, not because you're giving up on them, but because you're making room for something to truly thrive. Wrap the old plant in newspaper, thank it quietly for its service, and return it to the earth. Then, with intention, bring in a new plant, or even a simple bowl of stones or a decorative lantern, something that tells the universe, I'm paying attention now. Because when you begin tending to even the smallest forgotten corners, you shift your entire home's vibration. And a home that vibrates with life, clarity, and intention will always draw in what your heart has quietly been asking for. Let me leave you with this. If you allow dying energy to linger at your door, opportunity will hesitate to knock. And your home is far too sacred, far too full of potential to be held hostage by what's no longer alive. So let this be the moment. Remove what's stale, welcome what's vibrant, and remember, your entrance doesn't just lead into your home, it leads into your next chapter. If this reflection gave you insight or a gentle nudge to shift something in your space, I'd love for you to like this video, share it with someone who might need it, or subscribe to New Day Mindfulness. Let's bring more intention, more breath, more beauty into the way we live. And let's do it together, one home at a time. Plant number 3, weeping willow. The energy drencher. You wouldn't be blamed for falling in love with it at first glance. The weeping willow, with its soft, cascading branches and poetic silhouette, seems like something out of a quiet, healing dream. There's a haunting beauty to the way it leans, the way it sways gently in the wind, like an elder whispering a memory. And perhaps that's why so many homeowners choose it. especially those looking for a touch of softness, a bit of romance, or a natural privacy screen for the front of their home. But Feng Shui asks us to look beyond the aesthetic, because when it comes to the energy that surrounds and enters your home, beauty isn't always benevolent. The truth is, not everything that looks gentle brings peace, and not everything that feels nostalgic brings harmony. In the case of the weeping willow, its symbolism doesn't lift the energy around your front door. It gently and consistently drags it downward. Let's begin here. Your front door is not just a physical entry, it's your energetic mouth. In Feng Shui, we call it the mouth of Qi. It's where the breath of opportunity, prosperity, and support flows in. And just like your own breath, the quality of what enters affects everything that happens afterward. Imagine trying to take a deep breath in a room where the air is heavy, damp, or depleted. That's what happens energetically when a weeping willow stands guard near your entrance. Its drooping branches, downward pointing shape, and quiet, somber presence symbolize prolonged grief, emotional depletion, and a pulling away from vitality. This tree doesn't stand tall, it leans. And while that may be visually graceful, it speaks an energetic language of surrender, of sadness, of letting go, but not in a way that uplifts or heals. Rather, it quietly embeds sorrow into the environment and into the emotional fabric of the home. Let me say this clearly. Beautiful sadness has no place at your front door. Your threshold should declare life, vibrancy, movement, and welcoming strength. It should rise to meet the world, not collapse inward like an exhausted heart. And yet, many households, especially those where loss, emotional trauma, or generational grief have gone unspoken, find themselves drawn to this tree. That's not an accident. It's energy matching energy. A home that carries unprocessed sadness may unconsciously seek out symbols that echo it. And the weeping willow becomes that echo. Its presence reflects what has not yet been healed. And in doing so, it anchors it, repeats it, and amplifies it. Here's where it gets deeper. This tree isn't just symbolic, it affects your physical and emotional experience, often in subtle but persistent ways. Families living near a willow at the front of the home report a surprising number of recurring emotional patterns. Low motivation, frequent arguments that circle around without resolution, fatigue that doesn't seem tied to sleep quality, or an overall heaviness in the home that builds over time. You may not feel it immediately. It may start with just one day where you want to stay inside, one morning when your energy feels drained, or one afternoon when you cancel plans for no particular reason. But over weeks and months, the presence of downward energy near your entrance creates a slow leak in your emotional and energetic system. It's not explosive, it's erosive, and that's often harder to catch. You might be asking, what if it's already planted? What if I love it? What if it's been here for decades? These are valid questions, and Feng Shui is not about punishing beauty or cutting down history. It's about conscious adjustment. It's about making peace between symbolism and reality. So let's say you can't remove the tree. Perhaps it was inherited, perhaps you planted it during a significant moment in your life. Perhaps it provides shade or anchors a part of your garden design. That's okay. The key is not to erase, but to lift. What the willow pulls down, you must consciously raise. Here's how. First, place a set of metal wind chimes near the base of the tree or between the willow and your front door. Metal in the 5 elements of Feng Shui cuts through grief and disperses heavy earthbound energy. It uplifts through sound, clarity, and rhythm. Wind chimes are not decoration, they're energetic instruments. Their gentle, melodic vibration shifts the qi from stagnant to moving. And when they hang beside a willow's droop, they symbolically and literally interrupt the sorrow spiral. Second, consider placing an upward growing plant or symbolic object directly near the door. such as a potted bamboo, a lantern with a warm light, or even a vertical stone feature. These additions tell the universe, even though sorrow may live nearby, hope leads here. They serve as energetic gatekeepers, redirecting the flow from down to up, from soft sadness to anchored strength. Let's talk about emotional layering here. Many people choose willows during periods of grief, perhaps after the loss of a parent, a pet, a divorce, or even a dream. Planting something, watching it grow, it's healing. It gives form to something formless. And in that way, the weeping willow holds a sacred purpose. But its placement matters. A tree planted deep in the backyard, near a pond or reflective space, that's a powerful tribute. A willow in the front yard by the main entrance, that becomes a lingering invitation to loss. Energy doesn't judge, but it responds. And when the front of your home whispers, "I am not yet healed," the universe doesn't send opportunity, it sends echoes. Let me offer a real-life example. A couple I once worked with in Washington had a willow tree growing in the left front corner of their property. The Feng Shui position connected to family and health. Over a period of 5 years, they experienced a near constant stream of medical issues. Herniated discs, chronic colds, unexplained joint pain. Their relationships with extended family grew strained, especially around inheritance discussions. And most surprisingly, they both described feeling like they carried a fog everywhere, even on sunny days. When we identified the tree as a potential energetic culprit, the husband was shocked. "But it's my favorite tree," he said. "It reminds me of my grandmother." And that's exactly the point. It wasn't about the tree, it was about the unresolved memory. We didn't cut it down. We placed a large metal sculpture nearby, added motion-triggered lighting, and replaced their front doormat with one that read, "All that enters brings light." Within 6 weeks, they reported better sleep, warmer family dynamics, and an unexpected refund from a long-closed health claim. Coincidence? Maybe. But once again, in Feng Shui, transformation begins with attention. Where you place it, how you feel about it, and what story it's silently telling. These matter. So now, let me ask you this. What is the emotional tone of your front entrance right now? Is it alert or weary? Forward-moving or softly folding inward? Is there something visible or energetic that has been weighing down your threshold? If the weeping willow stands outside, swaying its story into your home, perhaps this is the moment to shift what that story says. You don't have to destroy the past to welcome the future. You just need to ensure the past isn't the one holding the pen. Let the beauty of the willow remain, but balance its sadness with sound, light, and upward design. And more than anything, recognize this. The front of your home is not just a design zone. It's a declaration. It says, "I'm ready for love," or "I'm holding on to pain." It says, "Opportunity lives here," or "I'm not sure I'm ready." In the universe, it doesn't need words. It reads energy like a map. So if the map you're creating begins with sorrow, draw a new path around it. Illuminate it, soften it, and gently redirect it. If this message resonates, I invite you to pause right now and take a fresh look at your front door. Not just the decor, but the emotion. What greets your guests? What greets you? What energy is rising? And what's still weeping? And if this reflection sparks something inside you, please consider liking this video, sharing it with someone you love, or subscribing to New Day Mindfulness. Because our mission is simple, to help every home become a place of clarity, alignment, and calm strength. One story, one tree, one breath at a time. Plant number 4, bonsai, beauty that restricts growth. There's a certain stillness that bonsai trees carry, an elegance shaped by silence, trimmed by discipline, sculpted into perfection. And it's that very perfection that seduces the modern eye. You see them in minimalist entryways, chic home decor magazines, or staged homes that whisper refinement. But when viewed through the energetic lens of Feng Shui, their message isn't one of elegance, it's one of restriction. Because beneath their beauty lies a pattern that few notice but many absorb. And that pattern is this: when you shrink nature to fit a form, you invite that same constraint into your own energy field. Let's step back and really sit with that. A bonsai is not naturally small. It is made small. Its roots are deliberately confined. Its branches are pruned with intention, not to thrive, but to control. It is nature repressed, not nature expressed. And when you place that symbol by your front door, the energetic mouth of your home, you are sending a message to every opportunity, every new idea, every financial current trying to enter. You may come, but only if you fit my limit. Only if you stay small. Only if you bend. And so, without realizing it, you place a beautiful object in your entrance that whispers, no room to grow. Not in career, not in courage, not in wealth. Here's why that matters. The front door in Feng Shui is not just architecture, it is communication. It is your home's handshake to the universe, the point of reception, of invitation, of intention. The chi that enters here does not simply visit, it settles, it anchors into your daily rhythm, your relationships, your health, and your money. So when you place a living symbol of compressed ambition, stunted potential, and aesthetic restraint at this very gateway, you are not beautifying your threshold. You are bottling your future. Now let's go deeper. Some homeowners argue, but I love the bonsai, it calms me. And that is true on the surface. Its symmetry, its balance, its composition, all these lend an air of quiet sophistication. But Feng Shui teaches us to look beneath the surface, to feel not just what is visible, but what is vibrating. A bonsai tree is not in its natural state. It is under constant pruning, living in a container smaller than its roots crave, bent into a shape that pleases the eye, but defies its essence. When you greet this energy daily, even subconsciously, you reinforce the belief that staying small is safer than reaching big. That control is better than growth. That stillness must be earned through suppression. And for anyone seeking abundance, not just in money, but in self-expression, relationships, or clarity, that's a dangerous belief to water. Let me share a quick story. One of my longtime clients, a therapist in Los Angeles, had placed a pair of bonsai trees at her front porch. To her, they symbolize peace, order, mindfulness. But for months, she felt like her business had plateaued. She was attracting clients, yes, but mostly those in crisis, those who couldn't commit to long-term healing. During one of our sessions, I suggested she move the bonsai trees. She was reluctant but open. She replaced them with 2 upward-growing peace lilies. Within a month, her client base shifted. She began attracting people ready for transformation, not just maintenance. Coincidence? Maybe. But in Feng Shui, repeated coincidence is called pattern. And the pattern was this: when the invitation shifted, the visitors changed. Let's be honest, bonsai is a modern trap. It appeals to our desire for simplicity, for curated life, for balance in chaos. But sometimes the very objects we believe are helping us balance are actually helping us hide. Because the bonsai isn't just a tree, it's a mirror. It reflects how much space we're willing to give our dreams, how much freedom we allow our ambitions, how deeply we're willing to root into what we truly want. So what's the solution? Must all bonsai be banished? Not at all. Like all Feng Shui symbols, context matters. Bonsai trees can serve a powerful purpose, but not where growth needs encouragement. If you love your bonsai, place it somewhere reflective. A study, a quiet reading nook, even a bedroom altar where introspection is honored, but not by the door. not at the gate where energy needs to feel invited, free, and full of momentum. If you absolutely must keep it near the entrance, elevate it. Place it on a taller surface surrounded by upward growing plants, or paired with a mirror that reflects light toward the sky, or tie a red string around the pot, symbolizing intention, awareness, and protection. These are not just aesthetic choices, they're energetic corrections. And in Feng Shui, even small corrections redirect the current. Let's return to the core truth. At the door of your home, the universe listens to symbols more than words. It reads shapes, forms, posture. It senses growth or suppression, movement or stillness, expansion or fear. And the bonsai, however beautiful, speaks the language of restriction. So I invite you to ask, is your front door a space of welcome or of limitation? Are you inviting energy to rise or to fold inward? Because the plants at your threshold are more than decoration. They're dialogue. And today, with awareness, you get to choose the message. If this section resonated, if you suddenly remembered the little tree tucked near your front porch, know this: awareness is the first realignment. Action is the second. And even the simplest shifts create the deepest flow. If you're feeling inspired, share your thoughts below. What plants are you reconsidering? What symbols have been speaking louder than you realized? And before we move to the next energy-shifting plant, take a moment, just one, to breathe into this awareness. This isn't about being perfect, it's about being aligned. Plant number 5, ivy and creeping vines, entanglers of energy. There's something undeniably poetic about ivy. The way it climbs, the way it wraps and weaves along walls and fences, the way it softens hard architecture into something that feels older, wiser, more storied. In fact, for many people, ivy-covered homes are a romantic symbol, a nod to English manners, timeless gardens, cozy nostalgia. But while the aesthetic may whisper elegance to the eye, the energy it pulls into your space tells a very different story. And in Feng Shui, that story matters far more than appearance. Because here's the hidden truth. What looks like charm can actually be a form of energetic entrapment. Let me explain. Climbing plants, whether it's ivy, creeping fig, wisteria, or any trailing vine, have a unique and powerful influence on the qi or life force that surrounds and enters your home. Unlike upright rooted plants that radiate stability and growth, climbing vines behave more like energy hoarders. They twist, latch, and cling. They don't create space, they consume it. They don't move upward by strength, they move by attachment. And when those patterns are mirrored right at your front door, you invite more than greenery. You invite entanglement into your energy field. Let me be clear, this is not about plant shaming. Ivy isn't evil, it isn't bad, but its energetic behavior reflects something deeper: confusion, boundary blur, and energetic diffusion. In Feng Shui, the mouth of your home, the area leading up to your front door, is sacred. It's where intention becomes direction. It's the path that carries opportunity, wealth, clarity, and peace into your living space. And when this area is covered by climbing invasive vines, that path doesn't feel like an open invitation. It feels like a maze, a puzzle, a place where energy doesn't flow. It detours, it spirals, it hesitates. And here's the part that too many people overlook. Your home learns from your surroundings. So do you. The longer you coexist with entangled, overgrown plant life, the more your internal life tends to mirror it. I've seen this pattern countless times. Homes with ivy-covered entrances where the residents can't seem to make clear decisions, or where financial flow feels tangled in unseen delays. Clients who keep revisiting the same emotional arguments, the same fatigue in relationships, the same almost breakthroughs that never quite arrive. And while vines alone aren't the cause of these things, they serve as powerful energetic metaphors, and metaphors influence the mind. The mind influences everything. One of the most subtle but profound side effects of these entangling plants is their impact on emotional and psychological clarity. When the entrance to your space is overrun with spiraling, chaotic growth, your sense of personal direction often reflects that disorder. You may feel like you're moving, but without purpose. Like you're working hard, but with no traction. It becomes harder to draw a line between what's yours and what's clinging to you, especially in relationships or professional boundaries. That's no coincidence. Ivy's very nature is to blur edges, and when you're surrounded by blurred edges, it becomes easy to lose your own. And here's another layer most people don't realize. Vines don't just attach to walls, they weaken them over time. Physically, they erode mortar, trap moisture, and make your home more vulnerable to pests. Energetically, they dissolve the clarity of protection. Your home no longer feels sealed, it feels invaded. And in Feng Shui, a weakened boundary is an open door to uncertainty, instability, and depletion. So what can be done? Do you need to strip everything back to bare walls? Not necessarily. Like all things in Feng Shui, the remedy is not always removal. It's realignment. If you love your ivy or creeping vines for their aesthetic value, begin with conscious trimming. Shape them in a way that allows for openness around the doorway. Leave the path leading to your front entrance visually and energetically clear. Allow space to breathe, because energy, like people, avoids places that feel strangled. It prefers openness, direction, intention. Better yet, consider replacing climbing plants at the entrance with upright, outward-facing greenery. Think of plants that reach up or out, not plants that coil and cling. Bamboo, areca palm, bird of paradise, or even lucky bamboo in a ceramic pot. These welcome energy in. They suggest growth by effort, not by entanglement. They signal confidence, not desperation. And if you're not ready to make changes yet, that's okay. But I encourage you to take a moment right now to observe the path to your front door. Do you feel pulled in with clarity or tangled in shadow? Do you feel uplifted or slightly drained before you even enter? These small, intuitive signals are your first Feng Shui teachers. Trust them. I recall a client in New York, a retired educator who had a beautiful brownstone framed in ivy. To her, it was her pride. But she also admitted feeling chronically indecisive about downsizing, financially stuck despite her pension, and emotionally burdened by past family ties. As an experiment, we cleared just one side of the entry. Within weeks, she reported clearer thinking, finally listed her second property for sale, and reconnected with a distant niece. Did removing ivy fix her life? No, but it unlocks stuck chi. And sometimes movement is the miracle. So here's my invitation to you. From one mindful home to another, let your walls breathe. Let your energy uncoil. Let your home speak with confidence, not confusion. Because what grows outside your door eventually grows inside your mind. If this reflection gave you pause, if you found yourself thinking of the green vines curling up your mailbox or the climbing fig taking over your archway, take that awareness as your first tool. It doesn't matter whether you act today or tomorrow. What matters is that you've seen the pattern. And once you see it, you no longer walk past it in the dark. And if this message felt like it was written just for you, leave a comment below. What climbing plants have you lived with, and how have they shaped your space? Have you felt tangled or clear? Has beauty ever blurred your boundary? Your story might just help someone else recognize their own. Plant number 6, cotton trees or plants that attract insects, unseen invaders. There's a silent kind of disturbance that doesn't shout or knock loudly, but creeps in slowly. subtly. You don't always see it at first. It arrives on wings or legs. It settles in leaves. It hovers just beneath awareness. And often it's dismissed as something small, harmless, temporary. A few gnats by the pot, a trail of ants along the door. But in Feng Shui, nothing that arrives repeatedly is random, and nothing that lingers at your threshold is without meaning. Let's talk about one of the most overlooked Feng Shui disruptors, plants that attract insects. Cotton trees, moisture-heavy foliage, or species that retain sweet nectar near your front entrance may look innocent, even lush. But energetically, they do more than grow. They invite the unseen. And in energy work, what is unseen often holds more power than what is obvious. You see, your front door, the mouth of Qi, isn't just where people enter. It's where opportunity enters, where health enters, where clarity and good news and strength enter. It's where life meets you. So when the space around that door becomes a playground for bugs, pests, and minor infestations, it speaks to something deeper. Distraction, erosion, and energetic vulnerability. Let's break this down. In Feng Shui symbolism, insects, especially those drawn to rot, sweet residue, or moist decay, are representatives of minor chaos. They flutter, scatter, burrow. They shift attention constantly. They erode peace not by crashing through your door, but by buzzing at its edges. And when they cluster around your entrance, whether through sap-heavy plants like cotton trees, overwatered bumps, or fragrant leaves that hold humidity, they shift the vibrational tone of your home downward. Slowly, persistently. Unseen invaders don't scream. They whisper, they gather, and before you know it, the energy at your door is no longer welcoming. It's distracting. And here's what most homeowners miss. When you ignore these small disturbances, you normalize disruption. A few bugs turn into many, one plant turns into a pattern, and the mind too starts adjusting. You tolerate more noise. You accept more delay. You grow accustomed to the subtle unease that something is always off, but never urgent enough to fix. That vibration enters the home, and like the insects themselves, it spreads. This isn't superstition, it's energetic ecology. And the east Qi of your front door sets the tone for everything inside. Let me offer a metaphor. Imagine trying to meditate in a space with one fly circling you. You might be able to sit still, even breathe deeply, but a part of your awareness is always pulled, flickering toward the distraction. That's what bug-attracting plants do to your entrance. They keep your energy from fully arriving. They keep your mind from fully receiving. They divide your intention. And in a home where clarity is divided, harmony rarely thrives. Now you might be thinking, is it really that serious? They're just a few bugs. And in isolation, you're right, they're manageable. But Feng Shui teaches us to observe accumulation. A single issue may seem small, but when repeated daily, its impact compounds. So the question isn't, is this plant wrong? It's, what am I repeatedly allowing into the first moment of entry every day? Some homeowners fall into the well-meaning trap of choosing plants purely based on appearance or shade. Cotton trees, with their softness and sway, seem harmless, even soothing. But cotton attracts more than just the eye. It draws small insects that nest within its fluff. Other nectar-producing plants attract fruit flies, even wasps. And every time you or a guest steps into your home, you're walking through that field of distraction. Whether your body feels it or not, your energy does. So what can be done? The remedy, as always in Feng Shui, is not fear, it's realignment. If you love your plant and don't want to remove it, start by balancing it with grounding energy. Add a pot of lemongrass nearby. Its scent naturally repels bugs and anchors calm. Consider planting lavender, whose frequency not only deters pests but brings peace. You can even place small bowls of rock salt or cloves near the base of these plants. Salt absorbs energetic residue. Clove sharpens and purifies. These are subtle tools, but they act as energetic guardians. If infestation is persistent or if the plant simply doesn't belong at your door, move it. You can relocate it to a far corner of your yard, to a space where boundary is not critical. Replace it with something clean, strong, and upward growing. Think rosemary, juniper, or even marigold. Plants that protect, not confuse. And most importantly, observe how the energy feels afterward. Did the air lighten? Did you feel more clear when stepping out in the morning? Did arguments lessen? Did tension drop just a little? I once worked with a couple in Arizona who had a stunning cactus garden accented with cotton trees and jasmine. It was a sensory delight, but their front porch was constantly crawling with ants. They shrugged it off for years, but during that time they reported frequent miscommunications, delayed payments, and weird luck. After we removed the cotton trees and replaced them with grounded herbs, not only did the bugs vanish, but within weeks, the couple both reported sleeping better and finally aligned on a renovation plan they'd been arguing over for months. That wasn't just pest control, that was energy clearing. So here's the real message. Don't mistake natural beauty for energetic benefit. Some things that appear soft or gentle carry vibrations of chaos. And the first step in Feng Shui is noticing the difference between what you like and what truly supports you. Let your front entrance be clean, intentional, and alive, but not chaotic. Let it draw in peace, not pests. Let it reflect clarity, not minor confusion. Because even if no one else sees it, you feel it every day. And when you honor that feeling, even in something as small as a potted plant, you begin to build a life that listens, aligns, and protects your energy from the moment you step in the door. If this sparks something in you, if you just remembered that vine that keeps drawing bugs, or that tree with the sticky leaves, take this as your invitation. Realign it, ground it, or gently let it go. And if this lesson helped you look at your home with a new kind of clarity, share your thoughts below. What plants have you been tolerating that might be draining your space? Your insight could be the shift someone else needs. Plant number 7, thorny roses or bougainvillea, conflict dressed in beauty. It's easy to be seduced by the bloom, the softness of a petal, the flush of color, the elegant drape of a vine clinging to a trellis near the entrance. But in Feng Shui, beauty alone is never enough. We look deeper. We listen beyond what the eye sees. And sometimes what appears gentle is actually armored. What seems romantic carries a sharper message beneath the surface. And nowhere is that truer than with thorny roses and bougainvillea, two of the most common and most misunderstood energy disruptors found at the front door. Let's begin where the illusion starts. Roses have long been symbols of love, passion, elegance. Bougainvillea, too, with its vibrant purple or coral blooms, is seen as luxurious, exotic, something that frames a front gate with charm. But what often gets ignored are the thorns, the defensive spikes, the small, piercing reminders that these plants don't offer softness without condition. In Feng Shui, this matters deeply because the front of your home isn't just a place for decoration. It's a field of intention. And what lives here speaks to what you allow into your life. Let's be clear, thorns don't just sit on a stem. They carry energetic meaning. They signal defensiveness, protection, subtle resistance. When placed near the entrance of a home, they create a subconscious message, not just for visitors, but for the people who live there. That message? Come close, but be careful. You're welcome, but don't get too comfortable. It's a paradox of invitation wrapped in rejection. Now here's the real issue. Most people choose roses or bougainvillea out of love. They associate them with romance, tradition, beauty. But symbolism matters more than sentiment when it comes to energy flow. And if the first thing you encounter near your front step is something that can wound even by accident, it creates micro-tension. Not always dramatic, but cumulative. Over time, this subtle message of watch your step ripples through relationships. Have you noticed increased disagreements at home lately? Tension that rises quickly over small things? Repeating conversations that don't seem to resolve? It may not be just emotional habits. It may be energy cues, quiet but constant. That thorny rosebush at the entrance, that climbing bougainvillea beside your bell, may be speaking louder than you think. Let me share a brief story. I once consulted with a couple in Los Angeles, young professionals, married 5 years, no kids yet. They had a lovely home in the hills, complete with a white trellis of pink bougainvillea arching above the front gate. It looked like a postcard, but inside they reported tension, frequent spats, romantic disconnect, and an eerie sense of unease they couldn't explain. When we walked through their property together, it became obvious. Every path toward the door had to pass beneath or beside those dense thorn vines. No clear route, no softness, just subtle defensiveness. Beautiful, yes, but energetically guarded. After removing the plant and replacing it with white jasmine and soft ground cover, they reported an almost immediate shift. Arguments slowed, sleep improved. "We feel more together again," the wife said. That's not magic, that's alignment. Now, does this mean roses are evil? Bougainvillea forbidden? No, absolutely not. In Feng Shui, we don't cancel beauty, we place it wisely. These plants have their place. They can be used with intention, but that place is not directly at your door. Instead, consider planting them along a side path or toward the edge of the property, where their defensive nature serves as protection rather than disruption. Think of them as energetic guardians at the perimeter, not greeters at the gate. And if you're emotionally attached to the presence of roses, there are ways to soften their energetic message. Surround them with rounded stones. The curved shape diffuses sharp energy. Add a small water feature nearby. Flowing water calms tension and brings fluidity to the chi. Even a gentle wind chime placed between the plant and the door can shift the vibration, changing conflict into clarity. Here's the key takeaway. Don't confuse the symbolism of beauty with the frequency of harmony. Just because something blooms doesn't mean it supports your growth. You deserve more than appearances. You deserve peace that lives beneath the surface. And here's something most people overlook. A surprising number of luxury homes, the kind you see in glossy design magazines or high-profile celebrity properties, feature dramatic entryways lined with ornamental cacti, climbing ivy, and yes, thorn bougainvillea. They photograph beautifully, but many of those homes, they change hands quickly. Owners don't stay. Feng Shui doesn't respond to status. It responds to sincerity and flow. No amount of design will override misaligned energy, and no price tag can buy harmony. So if you've ever looked at your front entrance and felt off, even when it looked perfect, trust that feeling. If you've ever caught your shirt snagging on a rose thorn as you reach for your door handle, that's not just physical, that's symbolic. If your guests pause or hesitate before stepping inside, it may not be about the layout. It may be what they're sensing, unseen but very real. You're not wrong for loving roses. You are not misguided for planting what pleases you. But now that you know the message those plants are sending, you can choose a new message, one of softness, welcome flow. Let the entryway of your home reflect the energy you want to call in, not guarded, not defensive, but open-hearted, calm, and intentional. If this reflection helped you see your home differently, if it made you glance outside your window and rethink that front planter, I invite you to share your growing thoughts below. What's blooming outside your door, and what might it be saying on your behalf? Let's learn together so we can build homes that not only hold us, but heal us. Final. Shift the threshold, shift your life. Sometimes the greatest change you can make starts not with what you bring in, but what you remove. That's the quiet truth about the threshold of your home. It's not just a place to pass through. It's your first energetic conversation with the universe. And those plants that seem decorative, they're not passive, they speak. They tell the world subtly, constantly, what kind of energy you're inviting into your life. And when the message is misaligned, even beautiful things can create struggle. Over the past few minutes, we've looked deeply into 7 plants that many of us grew up admiring or simply walked past without question. Cactus, with its stylish edge, hides silent aggression. Dead or dying plants, symbols of stagnation that dull momentum. The weeping willow, though poetic, draws your energy downward. Bonsai, artful, yes, but a symbol of restraint and controlled growth. Ivy and vines that seem charming but quietly smother your home's boundaries. Bug-attracting plants that shift the vibration toward decay. And finally, thorny roses and bougainvillea, conflict dressed in color. And here's the deeper layer most people never pause to consider. These aren't rare mistakes. They're common precisely because they're hidden beneath beauty, because we were never taught to listen to energy in the spaces we walk through every day. But once you become aware, even gently, it changes how you see your space forever. The real risk isn't just aesthetic. It's not about whether your entryway looks good to guests. It's about what your home is saying when no one is listening, and what kind of luck, support, or peace you're unintentionally turning away at the door. That's what this video is always about. Not superstition, not control, but conscious living. And that's what we believe in here at New Day Mindfulness. Our channel isn't about fear, it's about clarity. We help you translate the silent language of your home into choices that bring real change. So if something we shared today made you pause, made you glance outside your window, or made you rethink that potted plant beside your steps, then this video did what it was meant to do. And I'll leave you with this. Your home is always in conversation with the world. Every plant, every stone, every object near your door, it's the first word in that dialogue. So let that first word be strong. Let it be aligned. Let it be one that welcomes the life you're truly ready for. If this video inspired even a small shift in your thinking, I invite you, share it with a friend who might need this. Leave a comment to tell me what you notice. Or subscribe to join us as we work toward 5,000 homes aligned with deeper intention. We're not here to chase views. We're here to build clarity, one mindful home at a time.